You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Go visit the Glebe Central Pub in the heart of the Glebe at 779 Bank Street, and also check out the Sens Game Day Shuttle round trip for $17. Get your tickets to select games, glebecentralpub.com/the online store. I'm Ross Levitan alongside the entire Postcast crew. Brandon Piller is here. The Martian is here after a third straight Ottawa Senators loss. The Sens lose 3-2 on Long Island in a day that felt a lot heavier than just a 3-2 loss. Pilsy, I want to start with Erik Branstrom. We're thinking of him. He was taken off in a stretcher in a second period collision with Cal Clutterbuck. I don't think it was a dirty hit. I don't think it was malicious. It was a hard hit. And Erik Branstrom landed on his shoulder, stretchered off, and an update from the Senators. He is alert and moving all extremities at a hospital. We'll bring you more updates if and when they become available. Pilsy, that really kind of threw a wrench into the energy in the arena, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I'm glad we started with this, Ross. Definitely thoughts and prayers to Erik Branstrom here. As you said it wasn't a dirty hit. It was a hard hit. I mean, Erik Branstrom's smaller guy. Like, he tends to get kind of hit very hard in the corner in situations like that. It does happen to a guy like him, unfortunately. And the issue is he kind of has a whiplash and hits his head on the ice there. And that's when things really get scary. And you notice right away, when it's bad when the players are quickly calling for a trainer, and it's tough. That's the game of hockey. And you'll notice too that no one went to fight Clutterbuck right away. Everyone's just like, damn, that's a hard hit that results in a bad fall. And we're really hoping all the best for Erik Branstrom right now.
Yeah, definitely. Just obviously hoping for the best for Branstrom there. But like for me, like that hit, the only thing you could really say about it, I think, is maybe it was just a little bit late. I think that's the only thing you could really say. Maybe Branstrom didn't brace himself as well as he probably could have in that situation. But yeah, I mean, his head hitting the ice is kind of like one of those freak accidents where it definitely wasn't a malicious thing, like you said. And it was tough to watch. And you can see the Sens players were obviously like pretty affected by that. Obviously, that's their buddy out there. And anytime the stretcher comes out, that's a scary moment.
It certainly is. So we're thinking about Erik Branstrom and his future immediately. We know that he is moving his extremities, talking, alert. So good news for now as we recap a 3-2 Senators loss to the New York Islanders. And Martian, the game-winning goal, I mean, was kind of a microcosm of the game. The Sens have a ton of speed. They come up, they take either too long to shoot, or in this case, Tim Stutzle decides to pass way too late on a 2-on-1, misses Giroux. Play goes the other way. It's a three-man rush. Trailer gets it, and Noah Dobson makes no mistake after having probably just as good, if not a better chance, maybe 5 minutes earlier, the Korpisalo was able to save. This time, Dobson makes no mistake, and that's ball game. Sens lose 3-2 in regulation.
Yeah, that was a huge blast from Dobson. Obviously, that was a rocket of a shot right there. But like you said, Tim Stutzle, probably not his best pass. And I think he maybe took a little bit too much time on that play, right? Like he walked it in and he got too close to make the shot himself. So opted for that late pass. And then it was kind of a tough effort trying to get it back to the front after that. But that's what happens. It was a little bit of a crapshoot there at that point of the game. It was like back and forth hockey. It was actually really fun to watch up until the Islanders scoring.
Yeah, you can't always say that about an Islanders game where it relies so heavily, like they did tonight, on Ilya Sorokin, as Noodles was saying. I think it's Sorokin, but
I don't care what it is, but they have to decide on the same thing. They both were saying it different ways, and that was messing with me, but whatever.
45 saves for Ilya Sorokin tonight. And Pillsy, I'm almost speechless about the Sens power play, because they've scored in 4 straight games, yet I have no confidence in them as they go 1 for 8 tonight.
Yeah, it's wild. And Ross, I really thought they had a huge opportunity when that parade of penalties was happening and they end up with a decent chunk of time 4-on-3. I really thought this is a team where 4-on-3 really helps them. Like, you get a lot of space. They can use their speed to get around the older, slower Islanders players, but they weren't able to capitalize here. But you know what? I got to say, this time around, Ross, I tend to agree with you that the power play frustrates me. But on this one, I'm going to tip my hat to Ilya Sorokin. I mean, he made a lot of great saves, a lot of rebound chance saves. So that was one of those times where I was frustrated they couldn't capitalize, but I did see some positives, and it looked like at least they were able to cycle the puck and get the puck towards the net and create chaos there. But sometimes when you face one of the best goalies in the league, it's not much you can do there.
Yeah, it's just that 1 for 8 stat just looks so damn.
It looks bad,
right? And I don't disagree. Like the power play looked pretty decent. Like they were getting chances, they just weren't burying the puck. And I guess you can give credit to Sorokin on that. But I feel like the power play is honestly the only time during this game where the Sens look like they were playing as a team as well. Like, like when they're on the power play, they've got their system, they know what they're doing, they're passing it around, they're moving the puck, they know where everyone needs to be. But right now, for me, at 5-on-5, this team is very disjointed. A lot of guys playing as individuals, I feel like.
It's really unfortunate. You look at not only 8 power plays in this game, they had 5 against Buffalo, 6 against Detroit, and 5 against the Washington Capitals. That's an absurd amount of power plays over a 4-game stretch. And they just did not take advantage and step on their opponent's throats when those are the situations they could have. There was that, and so many key power plays within. You think of a 5-on-3 in one of those games, the 4-on-3s tonight, 2 separate occasions. I believe they got a goal. Their goal tonight, I believe, was on a 4-on-3, right?
Oh, was it on the 4-on-3?
Yeah, it was. Because then I remember it was 4-on-4 after for a few more minutes. That was the Claude Giroux goal with Tim Stutzle and Morris drawing assists on that one.
I was referring to the later 4-on-3, but yeah, they could have got one earlier. Yeah.
There were 2 4-on-3s in this game. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, even better if you take advantage of both. Martian, let's start at the top of this game. Bo Horvat scores 2 minutes and 41 seconds in. What's going through your head when that happens?
I'm thinking not good here. I'm like, I've seen this movie too many times. You know, that's a tough start for the team. That's exactly what they didn't need. A lot of off-ice stuff going on right now, obviously surrounding this team. So getting off to a good start was kind of an important thing, I think, definitely for this game in particular, especially being on the road like that. You don't want to give the crowd too much energy. So I was afraid.
They just look sloppy, even after that goal. Their first power play was so bad, man. The only chance they got, Chychrun blew up his stick. And then they get – so after the first 7 minutes, this really frustrated me, and we're seeing a lot in the comments. Stay tuned for Postcast After Dark tonight, by the way. But you look at, in general, You can't have 2 penalties from your fourth line in the first 7 minutes of a game. Like, you just can't have it. And Mark Kaslick, I'm seeing a lot in the comments here, is the guy who's just really struggled out of the gate. It felt like that was such a secure move to put him on the fourth line. He wins faceoffs.
Yeah.
He's tough. He fought Matt Martin today. He threw a huge hit on Samuel Bolduc behind the net that prompted that fight. But he's just like, he's not hanging on to pucks. He's not like putting them in right areas, and he's taking minor penalties as well.
But what I will say is I agree with you, Ross, and I didn't love the game from the fourth line, but they did have a really good shift that led to that Chychrun goal. Kelly with the screen in front, Chartier was a big part of making that play happen. So, with their fourth line, you hope they can stay out of penalty trouble when you're only getting, like, I don't know what those guys got. I'm just looking at time on ice here. Like, you're looking... Cassidy had 3 minutes and 45 seconds time on ice.
There was
and
a
Kelly
reason
with 8 minutes. Yeah, like when you're getting that little ice time,
well, no, he got benched.
You can't be taking penalties.
He got benched, and not only that, then he takes a fight, sits for 5 extra. But they had to shorten the bench, man, and that's not something that in a game like this, it was. I know fans don't want to hear it. Like, this was Ilya Sorokin beating the Ottawa Senators. Like, he was ridiculous in this game, and I know it seems like a cop out. People want something to definitively get mad at and say this is why, like, how we could do better. But
yeah,
some nights are nights like this, Martian. Like,
they have 47 shots on goal, Ross.
Yeah,
but I'm getting a little tired. Like, it's so ironic. It's the exact opposite from like the pesky Sens days where they'd be on the ropes all game, get outshot by 20, and somehow win 3-2. Now, over the last number of games, like, they have dominated the shot clock on this 3-game losing streak. It hasn't even been close. Yeah. They've had double-digit shot advantages in all 3 losses, and it's meant absolutely nothing. Now, is that the Venn diagram? And you could probably put it somewhere in the middle where you outshoot the team by that much, but you have that many power plays, as we already discussed, over the last number of games. So there's opportunity, but they just haven't been able to score as often as need be. That's some profound information in the last 3 games where the Senators haven't found a way to win. I mean, they need to dig deep, because I think Kara wrote in the comments, I pulled it up, tells you, like, it's starting to feel a lot like last year. There were some close losses right off the bat. The game that comes to mind is in Tampa, the game where Mathieu Joseph scored that 3-2, 3-on-5 shorthanded goal. They lost that game late, but it was like, oh, we're almost there. But then it catapults into like a 2, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak, and then they're out of it. Not there yet, but the same concerning trends are arising with poor D-zone coverage and not being able to bear down, to use Alex DeBrincat's term, in scoring goals. And it's costing them.
Yeah, I agree. It does look too much like last year, and that's the worst part, because we had that big high last year as well with the home opener, and then 4-game win streak on the homestand, and then it started spiraling out of control there, and the off-ice stuff can't be helping the situation here. It's got to be making things worse, and this is tough because, like, the last 3 games, I'm not dogging the Sens for their effort. Like, the effort has been there, and you can see this is a team that's trying to get it going, but it's just not happening for them. And look, like, people in the chat, we're with you. Like, we don't have excuses here. Like, we're tired of seeing this. We're trying to figure out how we can talk about this team losing these games, a 3-game losing streak, while trying to find reasons and explanations. Like, okay, they lost these games because of this. They need to change this, but it's pretty hard when you're out shooting opponents like that. The effort's there. And what was the issue in the other 2 games before this one is hot start and then burning out. Well, in this game, they had a terrible start, but I thought they really picked it up come the second period, Martian. Yeah. And I thought, like, it looked like they were going to take control of this game.
Yeah, I would say even halfway through the first period, they almost
agreed. Yeah,
right? Like, that's when I was like, okay, they got that power play and they were looking good on that, and that kind of, created a little momentum for them. But yeah, man, I don't really know. Like, I don't know. They need some sort of wake up call. I don't know what it's going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening.
I mean, Martian, you more than anyone knows there could be some wake up calls on the horizon.
I mean, there could be, like, Pillsy, like this is the kind of start that is the opposite of what this team needs. And you don't think Michael Andlauer's sitting there thinking, like, what do we got to do here to not repeat history with the last season? Like, this is a new era of this team, and they they shouldn't be doing the same things they did last year. You guys just rhymed off about 4 parallels between last season and this season. And that's the opposite of what you want. And then, you mix in the off-ice debacles that are happening here with, Shane Pinto and that unfortunate situation with him and being suspended for 41 games. It's like, that's just another thing that you can draw back to as a parallel to like the history of this team and what we're used to seeing as fans. And damn right, it's frustrating. And there's a few constants here, and most of the constants that had been there in the past are gone now. And I don't see any reason why, turning the page shouldn't be a serious consideration, especially with this new regime in the mix here.
Yeah, I want to know what people think in the chat. Let us know what the biggest issue, the first issue that you think would have the biggest impact if it's changed, that wins will follow. Pillsy, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, like, where and when do you decide to stop the bleeding? Like, this team is bleeding out right now, it feels like. Like, at what point do you say, okay, now is the time we got to stop this? Because, like, if it was a lack of effort, or if they're getting blown out effort, I already mentioned that, but if they're getting blown out in more statistical categories and it's obvious that this team is just not clicking, then sure, it's easy to make that decision. But it feels like they're on the cusp of it. They just can't get on the right side of the scoreboard.
And they're going into the Dragon's Den, one of the rinks that has the worst memories in the National Hockey League. PPG Paints Arena on Saturday night. The air horn's going to be in full force. And the memories of the last time the Ottawa Senators stepped foot on a playoff ice surface over 6 years ago. On the other side of the break, we've got Send Central standouts, and as much as the Eric Branstrom situation looms large and it's all about his health, we've got an update from DJ Smith right now as I pull up Twitter that he is going to stay overnight at the hospital in New York. He will not accompany the team tonight to Pittsburgh, but that he is doing okay. So that's the update on Eric Branstrom. But we know in hockey, injuries happen, and it's who's going to step up. So who's going to come up potentially for the Ottawa Senators? We'll have that discussion right after a word from our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. You know, we love the Glebe Central Pub here on the Locked On Senators podcast. The Glebe Central Pub is the only exclusive local sponsor of the Locked On Postcast, because with the Postcast, it's all about the vibes at Sens games, and they know all about it. They've got the Sens shuttle that goes to and from the Canadian Tire Center from the Glebe Central Pub, which, by the way, is at 779 Bank Street, right in the heart of the Glebe. For $17, you get a round trip, and why not just make a night out of it? Go to the bar before, get dinner, get drinks. It's such a great time. They drop you right back off. You can keep the party rolling right afterwards. So head to the Glebe Central Pub and check them out online, glebecentralpub.com, right in the heart of Glebe, 779 Bank Street.
And we're also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Podcast, North America's #1 sportsbook. Why would you go anywhere else? I don't know. They got the best app. It's safe, simple, secure, easy to use. And hey, maybe try to mix in a parlay once in a while. Speaking of which, I don't know, Pillsy's parlay, did that hit today? Cha-ching. Yes, it did, a plus 353 odds. I combined Barzell shots, Brady Kachuk shots. Now, it was 3 shots each, and they got exactly 3 shots each. Sometimes you have to be lucky to be good. And then up against the Islanders, you got to feel like the under is going to hit. I hate betting the under, but that's what I had to do. That's what got the parlay done. And you can do that as well, heading to fanduel.com/lockedon and get going with your sports betting action. You can bet on NFL, MLB, NBA, and of course, hockey. So guys, check it out today. fanduel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Welcome back to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast. After a 3-2 Sens loss against the New York Islanders, a game Ottawa outshoots the opposition 47-38, but comes up with a big fat 0 when it comes to all that matters, and that's points. The Senators are 2-0 on the road so far this season. Their next opportunity is Saturday against Pittsburgh. All right, fellas. Send Central standouts in tonight's game. We put out, as we always do in our group chat, and we had an early jump, and it was Brandon Piller. Who do you have as the #1 Send Central standout in tonight's game?
This was an easy choice for me, and I kind of jumped the gun on calling a standout because this is the guy I knew I wanted to talk about and represent for my Sen Central standout, brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub, and that's number 6, Jacob Chikrin. I mean, he had a great game here. That goal was so nice, the way that he was able to do a nice little move around Anders Lee, and then he walks the line, and a good wrister from the circle, and he has the wherewithal to see Kelly is getting the screen in front, so he knows this is a great opportunity for me to get a shot towards the net here, and he beats Sorokin. That was one of his 9 shots on goal for this game. That's a high for the Senators, probably a high for the Islanders as well. Let's quickly do a scan here. Yeah, that's a game high in shots for Jacob Chikrin. That's not the only thing that was a game high for him. 28 minutes and 12 seconds for Chikrin as well, time on ice. So this guy was a big part of the hockey game tonight. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get it done. But, I mean, when you're looking at the scoreboard in a 3-2 game, Chikrin can say, I had my man.
And it showed. Like, that's one where he passed the eye test tonight. He was awesome. He was moving. He had his defensive structure. You know, he's feeling himself when he's reaching out with one hand on his stick, trying to break up the puck at all times. He's almost got it just continuously around his perimeter and causing havoc. And he did that tonight. What a shake shimmy. We mentioned it. The fourth line created down low and made that play possible on his goal, but he still had the little shake and bake at the blue line and then feathered a perfect shot. And Pillsy, your 20 goal prediction for Jacob Chikrin, knock on wood, have him stay healthy, is looking pretty good. He's up to 4 goals so far this season. I feel like the Sens have to be near the top of the league at goals from the point. You look at Chikrin has had a few. Jake Sanderson's had a few as well. So I'd be curious to see where they stand in the league at that kind of micro stat. But great call, Jacob Chikrin, his best game of the season, I'd say, and that's saying something considering he had those 2 goals in the home opener. Martian, you jumped in right afterwards.
Yeah, I did, and you know who else had a goal from the point tonight, and that was my standout, and that's Claude Giroux on that 4-on-3. I guess you could call it from the point. He was a little maybe closer than what you would call the point, but he was the high man on that PP there. So Claude Giroux is going to be my standout there with that goal. He had 6 shots on goal as well. Including obviously that goal that he had. And then I really liked his leadership tonight. You can kind of see it on the broadcast. They really brought him, they spotlighted him after the second goal. And you could see him encouraging the other players and being very vocal as clearly as a leader for the rest of the team. So for me, like, that's the kind of thing that that's an intangible that doesn't show up on the score sheet. And I actually, I got to redeem myself here a little bit because I had called out his play after the first few games, saying that I think he needs to find another gear and get back to what he was doing last year. And he looked a little better tonight, definitely.
And it's funny because I think I'd agree with that. I'd agree with Timmy needing to be a bit better. But then you look at it and they're both basically at, if not better.
Yeah, they're producing. They're producing, yeah. I mean, which is more than you can say for half the other guys. So
yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. Pels, you got any thoughts on Claude Giroux?
Yeah, I would agree, Martian. This was probably G's best game so far. And sure, he's been quietly producing, but this was one of those games where they need to find a leader and they needed someone to kind of pick them up. And the broadcast showed multiple times, like, Giroux was the guy on the bench really getting things going. And I thought this was the bounce back performance we needed from Giroux.
It was. And hopefully that continues against Pittsburgh, a team that he's had a long, more than a decade rivalry with, going back to some epic playoff series against Sid. I'm going to go with Joonas Korpisalo. Somebody had to. And of course, being Sen Central standouts, I'm going with Korpisalo. I could have just as easily taken a swing at my second opposition goalie. I tried Uso a couple of games ago, but obviously Sorokin was fantastic. But Korpisalo, what I liked about him is even though he gave up an early goal and then frankly looked pretty poor on the next few shots, had a lot of rebound issues early in the game, he settled in. He made some huge stops, and he's so acrobatic, and he's able to get post to post so well. There were a couple plays in particular that I want to highlight where he made, sliding saves, and I just thought that he looked fantastic in this game. And to go up head to head against Sorokin when he's playing his best can be intimidating, I'm sure. But I thought Korpisalo was great tonight. 35 saves on 38 shots in this one. And when you look at his 5-on-5 game as well, he was every bit as good. So I thought he held them in the game, and he is deserving of the third Sen Central standout tonight.
Yeah, that's
go
right.
ahead, Phils. Yeah.
This was another game where I'm not putting this on the goalie. I would agree, Ross. One thing with Korpisalo is he does give up a lot of rebounds, but I feel like he's one of those goalies that likes to play down low a lot. And sure, maybe he's able to get the save, but when you're playing down low like that, you're gonna a lot more pucks bouncing off the pillows, and you're leaving more rebounds out there. But in that case, the defense has to be aware of that and be better at clearing out the front of the net. Like that first goal, I thought Corpy made a good save, but the defensive structure let him out to dry, unfortunately. And I really thought his gloves looking better. The only other knock I have on Korpisalo is, man, I continue my stance of not wanting this guy to play the puck. He scares me. And he is, I don't know, like, Martian, do you notice this too? He's one of those goalies that unnecessarily tries to keep the play going. Like there was 2 or 3 times in this game where Corpy catches it and you're like, okay, nice, just settle. Whoa, what are you doing? Like,
he's all about running
that, throw that away.
He's all about running that clock out, baby. I love it. It's hilarious. Yeah, no, I did notice that, Pilsy, because he did it a few times where he just like dropped the puck and started playing it. Where I'm like, what are you doing out here? Just freeze it. Let's just get the line change going. But no, he likes to keep it moving out there. And I love his little, I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the pod, but the front tuck that he does in his pants, where he tucks his jersey in the front, and it looks like he's wearing a big diaper. I think that's so funny that he does that.
Oh my goodness. Sens lose 3-2 to the New York Islanders. They get goals from Jacob Chikrin, his 4th of the season, and Claude Giroux, his 2nd in reverse order. The Giroux goal assists go to Tim Stutzle and Josh Norris. The Chikrin goal assisted by Rourke Chartier and Parker Kelly. Noah Dobson scores the game winner with 6 minutes in to the third period. The Senators battle. They even got a chance in the dying moments, but were unable to get the victory. We'll have more on this game tomorrow on the Locked On Senators podcast, a reaction podcast that should be out pretty early in the morning. We'll also get you set up with a weekend preview. The Senators will be in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins Saturday night. Whew. Hope everyone has a great night. Again, the Postcast is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Great people, amazing food, and it's also in the heart of the Glebe. They're big Sens fans just like you, so make sure you get the tickets to the Sens shuttle, $17 round trip. I'm Ross Levitan with Brandon Piller and at Levitan's Martian. Stick around if you're live in the chat. Well, you're going to do some quick after dark. If you're listening to this, you want to hear more, head to YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and watch the bonus coverage of the Locked On Senators podcast. This has been the Postcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, after dark here. Pilsy, Martian. I feel like we need spooky music. We'll get that.
I thought you had that spooky music lined up for the after dark.
I don't like that one. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
If only we could get the copyright. Every time we do After Dark, I immediately think of Drake's song After Dark. If only we could get that copyright, that'd be perfect. But I don't think we got it in the budget for that.
If we get enough donations tonight, we will buy that song. I don't even know that song.
Oh, it's a good one.
All right, that's enough of that.
Well, I think everybody wants less of that.
Good one.
And more out of you. What's going on today? You caused a bit of a stir.
I know. The streets got a little wild today, guys. That's what happened. Hey, sometimes that happens, though. You know, the streets aren't a perfect science. I think everybody understands that. Who follows the street.
Well, wait, Martian, your slogan is "the streets don't miss." I think you could be like, "Hey, it's not perfect."
But like so far they don't miss. It's
okay, gotcha.
They're just it's a bit of
the streets haven't missed is your new slogan.
Yeah, it's obviously like it is what it is. I think people know what I'm doing on there, so I don't think I really need to explain it too much. But what I will say is that I still I don't I'm not just going to put something out just to get clicks. Like, I am having people who I trust to a certain extent who are telling me things, and as being who I am, I feel a little obligated sometimes to share some of the information is coming my way, because if I don't, it happens, I'll regret not doing it. And if I do, and it doesn't end up happening, that's
which hasn't happened yet.
But that's part of what it is. So I think, nobody's expecting me to be bang on 100% of the time like Bob McKenzie, but the streets still don't miss. And I think some of the things I was talking about today, I think that those could be in the future sooner than we think.
Yeah, I think what people jump on is they think it's like Bruce Garriock. When he says something, it's because
going to happen like in an hour.
Exactly. And everybody has that ADHD. They want it now. They want it news. I love it, dude. One, I think it's entertaining as hell. I love the way you get in the mix with the people who reply, the reply guys. I think that's hysterical. And third, you mentioned the Shane Pinto gambling thing to me yesterday morning before noon. So yeah, you've been all over it as far as I'm concerned, and I love it. And if people don't love it, that's fine too. But I do think that it's a talker, man. It spices things up. I'll tell you that much.
The one thing I will say, and probably what I will say I probably regret about today is talking perhaps about Pierre Dorion losing his job and not realizing the wave of effect that I have over, when I don't, sometimes I don't think about how large my audience is, and I don't think about how, that word could eventually, make its way to him and his family, or people who he knows, who would then, send it to him, or like send it to other people around him, where it just kind of gets a little bit out of control for me. So I'm learning still. We're all, we're in this together here, guys. I think we're not perfect, and I'm not saying I don't stand by what I tweeted, because I think I do, but at the same time, I do think there's times I got to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, it's a tight rope to walk, man. As the person who broke the Guy Boucher firing, I can understand that it is obviously a sensitive subject. But if you missed it, or if you're not on Twitter, the streets are saying that it's very likely, I'll say, that Pierre Dorion may not be around for too much longer as Senators GM. Again, nothing imminent, nothing's happened, but the streets are discussing. Anyways, I want to discuss this game a little bit more, because there's people in the comments. There's like, I need to talk about Tim Stutzle a little bit, because I mean, we've tire pumped this guy all summer, fellas, like all summer, and he looks frustrated. The giveaways are really bothering me at this point in the offensive zone. Pillsy, I know you love the line that you'll take the good with the bad, but the bad's been outweighing the good by quite a bit the last couple of games, and you can see the frustration on him. Like, how does that become fixed?
I feel like, and people in the chat can tell me if they think I'm way off on this, but I feel like the issue is the good offensive zone puck carry-ins that he's able to do aren't turning into anything. So you're not like, you see Timmy get into the zone, you're like, oh, nice, but then it doesn't turn into anything. So you're not like that happy about it. But then the bad ones turn into really bad ones and bad situations. So those stick in your mind. And that's the issue, is if he could have some of those transition zone entries translate into goals, maybe we're not so concerned about it. But the issue is the ones that end up getting broken up end up going the other way in odd man rushes and have led to goals pretty recently. And the thing that I'm going to harp on the most about this, Ross, and kind of add to your point, is I'm seeing a lot more this year Timmy's teammates barking at him on the bench. Like we saw it a little while ago with Chychrun, and then we saw it today with Brady. And both times it's not a back and forth conversation. It's them telling Timmy, hey, you got to clean this up. This can't happen. What are you doing with this? And then Timmy kind of gets into iPad mode, and he's looking at the replay, trying to figure out what went wrong there. So it's a tough start for Timmy. And I think the issue is when things are going bad for him, instead of simplifying his game, he makes it more complex. And he says, I got to hold on to the puck for longer and figure out how to make better plays, rather than be like, hey, instead of trying to force things and hold on too long, I should just get back to simple, smart hockey, pucks on net, clean, crisp passes, nothing crazy here.
Yeah, I think you basically said exactly what it is. I think he's just basically trying to do too much out there a lot of the time, right? And it might be coming with more expectations. Everyone's like, Tim Stutzle's a star player. He's a 100-point guy, and maybe he feels some of that
And
pressure.
he's making that money now, Martian.
And the money here. So, like, if he feels like he needs to be the one to help the team win or make the team win, it's becoming a little bit of an issue because he's, like I said, just trying to do too much out there just by himself. And it goes back to my comment earlier about some of the guys playing like individuals. I would put him in that category for sure so far this year.
It's really unfortunate. Hopefully he can string a few games together. But again, he has 8 points in 7 games. Like at the end of the day, it's
what are we talking about?
It's wild. Think about he could be putting up Jack Hughes numbers if he was, looking a little bit stronger, making the right decision a little bit more. But man, he's obviously an unreal talent, but still waiting to see the best out of Tim Stutzle this season. Also unfortunate, Artem Zub not on the trip. Pillsy, another game without him.
Well, and now the Branstrom injury just gets amplified even more, right? Obviously, you don't want to sit here and be like, if this team doesn't have Erik Branstrom or Artem Zub, they're screwed. But it does put a big wrinkle in this decor that a lot of Sens fans, I think all three of us included, were saying, finally, we have some stability back there. And this is looking like one of the best decors in a long time. So you take out 2 of the 6 top guys, and like JBD is going to have to play a lot better. He's going to have an elevated role. We're going to see who's going to get called up from Belleville. I know you guys are hoping it's Tyler Clevin. I would love to see Clevin too, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's not going to be Tyler Clevin. It's going to be Larson or Hetherington most likely. And
Pillsy, I would like to water cooler bet you on that. I bet you it will be Tyler Clevin.
It can't, boys. They don't
have the cap room?
Shh. Yeah, Martian, I'm down. Let's do a bet.
Is this another cap room?
Let's do a bet, Martian.
Damn. So
unless
Brandy goes on the LTIR.
And in that case, he'd have to miss 10 games and 24 days.
I'd be willing to throw $100 on it, Martian. I'm down.
Well, that would have to be betting on Branstrom going on the LTIR, and I won't bet on a man being injured for long term. So I will refuse the bet at this time.
Good call. I mean, we're just making smart gambling wagering here.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. It's very. I'm questioning who comes up. Like,
I think I'm literally telling you guys it has to be one of those 2. They're the only ones that they can afford.
Who?
Hetherington and Larson.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh, okay. Well, those are the 2 guys I would actually want to bring up the most.
Over
already brought up their youth, right? Like JBD. I don't really want JBD. I would rather JBD paired with Larson, or probably Hetherington would be my number 1 choice. Because it didn't even really work that well with Branstrom.
No, they weren't a good match. But yeah, it's not perfect either way.
Imperfect at best. If anyone has any final questions, let us know. Right now, we're waiting until. What do you guys think?
Are we waiting for the helmet? Is that, or what are we waiting for?
No, there's no helmet.
Helmet, buddy. 3-game losing streak.
Yeah,
it's tough times right now, fellas. It really is, and it's unfortunate because it does just kind of feel like last year all over again.
Yeah,
something's got to give.
Guys, Halloween is right around the corner, but I think Sen's biggest nightmare is the day after Halloween. November 1st is very close here.
Very close.
I refuse to believe it's going to be like that again.
I wish I had that confidence, Martian. I am scared shitless that November is going to happen again.
Yeah, what do you mean, Martian? What are you so convinced about?
I mean, I'm not convinced. I refuse to believe it's going to be that bad again. They're going to Sweden. It's a different year.
Oh, yeah.
Martian, November in Sweden are 2 of the most cursed things in Sens history.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's time to break the curse, boys. It's time.
Maybe they have to go back to the scene of the crime.
One last chance to reverse this curse.
Yeah,
let's see how it
reverse
goes.
it, and they pass it on to whoever they play over there.
Oh, yay.
Detroit, hopefully. Jeez.
Yeah, or Minnesota.
I don't really care about Minnesota. I'd rather curse Detroit.
Yeah, Toronto's the 4th team going, so they're already.
Yeah, but no home games for them.
Yeah, of course. Shout out to the Winnipeg Jets beating the Red Wings in regulation tonight. So all of a sudden,
Thank you for your service.
all of a sudden, the Red Wings are 0-1-1 in their last 2. How's it feel losing a couple in a row? I know how it feels. Sucks.
They're slipping.
Sucks. And the Penguins shut out the Colorado Avalanche tonight 4-0. So that's Ottawa's next opponent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's gonna be so cool. So cool. Pills, any final thoughts on this podcast after dark?
I mean, I'm just glad it wasn't as bad as a loss as the other two. Like, that's where we're at right now. Hopefully there's not any Islanders fans in the chat and they're just dancing on our grave right now, like the Sabres and Red Wings fans were. But this is tough. It didn't seem like it feels like an eternity ago that this team was on a 3-game win streak and we were fired up about how things were going. But again, that's what happened last year. And Groundhog Day, here we go.
No, but here's the thing. There's still 75 games left for now.
I'm not hitting the panic button yet. I know that's the chat that panic button things have happened yet, but yeah, I was laughing at this at the start. Yeah, Positive Pilsy is he's watching from a distance right now. Like he's not in the mix. It's like the Squidward meme of him in his house looking through the window while everyone else is having fun. That's kind of where Positive Pilsy's at right now.
It's tough times, guy.
It's so funny how we ride with this team and then we die with this team when they suck. Like it's a complete roller coaster of emotions throughout the season.
I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly.
No, exactly. It's part of being a fan.
It's just tough when like this is our lives. I don't have a choice but to ride up and down with the emotions of this team because that's my main focus and main priority. And we're pumping out content about this team. And when they suck, it sucks to do it. We've been doing it for 6 years and 0 playoff games to talk about. Like, I mean, I shouldn't even be saying the P word in October, but
it's just frustrating at times.
Let's just enjoy the ride here, fellas.
Yeah, let's enjoy the ride. 3-2 loss.
Okay.
The New York Islanders get the win. And now the Senators are going to Pittsburgh for a Saturday night game. And the reason why I slowed right down there is I was just looking at the schedule. Can you imagine how long
good.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all without games is going to be next week if they don't win that game on Saturday?
Well, and then your prize is you get to play the LA Kings, who are a pretty decent team as well. So that's not great.
Yeah. So, Martian, I'm not asking for your final thoughts. I'm asking you what you know about Evgeny Dadonov, as that's in the chat as well.
Nice. Great way to end this. Sick.
Yeah, like we both heard it. I don't know. It's
Well, the reason why too I want you to do this is because Hot Lunch wants us to do a tankathon spin, but it might not.
Oh, come on!
No, we can't get
too
this
soon. Come on, man.
Don't put us through this.
Ross wants to do it too. That's the thing he wants to.
Now.
No, but it might not matter, boys.
No, come on, guys. I hope my depressing rant at the end here did not lead you to the tankathon. We're not there.
Let's just wait that out. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
We're not there.
Well, we call it After Dark for a reason.
In the dark. We should start calling it In the Dark.
Yeah. Fellas, let's just get a win on Saturday, can we?
Wait.
Oh no. This is about where the energy level of the Ottawa Senators is. You know what? Hey, we are so deep into the postcast right now after dark. We're not going to spoil it, but I think that the Senators might be waiting for their next win until we do our part and pimp out the postcast, which is there's something on the way that's going to make the postcast pop.
If we can ever celebrate it.
No, that's what I'm saying. The Sens are waiting until we get our props.
I hope so.
For this to happen.
It's gonna be fun when that happens.
My FanDuel account's empty. I have $0 in it.
Should have followed Pillsy's parlay of the day, bud.
You just roll with Pillsy, you'd be rich.
I was $0, man. I was up like 200% when I got back from Ottawa.
I think every Sens fan was swimming in the green numbers after that weekend.
It was so fun. Remember how fun that was?
Mm-hmm.
Barely.
We had so much fun. That was this month. That was 10 days ago. And now we're all in the dark rooms.
We're in the dark.
We are in the dark. Oh, man. The Birdman's asking why wasn't your parlay Brady over 3.5 shots?
No, the Birdman. Pay attention, buddy. It was 3+ shots for Barzell and Brady. Both of them had exactly 3 shots. Thank you.
Wait, doesn't that mean, though, that you just...
Nope. You're thinking of half shots.
It's
3+ shots is a hit. It's not a push.
It's not a push?
It's the same as 2.5 on FanDuel, the way they put it.
Yeah.
Interesting. If I was in Ottawa right now, I'd be ordering Shawarma Palace. Or I'd be at the Leap Central Pub. I could be at the... Look, the streets don't sleep either, eh? This guy. You're like,
my phone made a ding, and I had it on silent the whole time. That was weird.
Unbelievable.
That's the Batman signal, right? Like one person can get through the private and make
yeah.
It's the streets.
Something like that.
Ah, Pillsy, you want to stare at this a little bit longer? You're actually like being 3-4.
Ross, you're an hour behind us. It's 11:22 here. Like, we should wrap this up.
10:22 for me. You want to go another hour?
To you?
Oh man. Thinking about Shane Pinto, thinking about Eric Branstrom, more importantly, Eric Branstrom and his family. Obviously, scary moment there. Cal Clutterbuck staples him to the boards. He falls awkwardly right on his kind of shoulder head area, and he's at a hospital in New York right now. So hopefully things are looking up for Eric Branstrom. I would say we'll have an update for you tomorrow, but we are going to record tomorrow's episode in about 10 minutes time. Pillsy's got a farm day tomorrow, so it'll be a late recording, but we'll have all the latest for you on Twitter tomorrow at Sen Central, lockedon.senators on Instagram. Make sure you're following The Martian at Lalim's Martian and Brandon Piller 1. Let's get some Go Sens goes in the chat. Oh no, Jasper. Walked to Shawarma Palace during the Postcast and they were closed. They close it. No. Which one did you go to?
Uber Eats, dude.
Uber Eats should be good till 1. Should be. Well, I know what Jasper's doing the rest of the evening. Go Sens go. Thanks for tuning in. We vent or we vibe. We're not going anywhere. We don't hide. We will be here after every single Ottawa Senators game. And shout out to the Glebe Central Pub. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Be a friend. Tell a friend to subscribe to Locked On Senators. This team's going to win some games eventually.